Hello there, Eagles fans. Welcome back to Philly Eagles Therapy. I'm Basil,
Baz.
and we are recording Friday, November 21st, 2025. Dad, Dallas week got a lot going on. It's been a busy week for us, so we're recording a little bit late, but huge game coming up on Sunday. How you feeling?
The biggest game of the season, if you ask me. I mean, this game is one. It determines it all. If we win this game, it's flowers for everyone. But if not, it's going to be a little bit of, we got the 3.5 game lead, but it's going to be scary. So
Yeah,
let's get this one.
yeah, no, I'd agree with you. I'm not. I mean, I'm pretty certain as of this point, no matter what happens on Sunday, we do have the division kind of. That feels like it's done.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not really. I'm really not worried about the division whatsoever. But I am worried about the team morale and the team going
yeah,
forward and everything. And this is one of those games where there was a fuse, and Dallas could be a spark, and
yeah.
you do not want to see that explosion and that fire. A lot to talk about today, Dad. Let's jump right into it. More AJ Brown stuff. I don't know how long you want to go into this. A little bit
Yeah.
more AJ Brown drama, Deshaun Jackson piping in, which is not something that I'm a fan of whatsoever. When former players kind of pipe in and ruin things and make things even worse,
Yeah.
can't stand when that happens.
Yeah, it happened last year with BG when he was a former player after, well, he wasn't quite former.
He was
He
still
was
playing,
injured.
yeah.
He was out, but he was on the roster. But yeah, I know. It's just the drama's not going to end. It's going to continue this way all season. You just got to embrace it. Now you got the talking about Hurts business, and then we watch Allen last night, who looked awful. He's not going to get the same ridding or bad press that we always get. So regardless of that, but going into this game, they have a big opportunity to kind of silence some critics for a little bit. But we'll see what happens. They gotta do more. That's for sure.
Yeah, can you explain to me in your thoughts why do you think this relationship has diminished? I mean, I
Yeah.
just don't understand. It just doesn't really make sense. We traded for him in 2022, and you go to the Super Bowl. The collapse happens, and then 2024 is there's comments about their relationship, and we go to won a Super Bowl, and now here we are again, and it's just like this is the most tiring thing about being an Eagles fan
Yeah.
is why do we have to go through this? Like, why do we
Well,
have
it's
these?
like
Why
you
is
either got to
someone
block, you got
stupid,
to,
and why do we have a
yeah,
former player being an idiot? I mean, he's been a
yeah,
knucklehead forever, but
yeah,
I'm kind of mad. I'm really
yeah.
I'm
Well, you gotta
angry about.
block it out. I mean, I watched a couple preview shows, and things like that, but a lot of the weekly talking heads, I kind of backed away from this week, and I've had some time to do it, but I just kind of hung away. There's a few players, broadcasters I listen to, and even those guys got into it, and I just kind of went, that's good. I've had enough. So that's the thing. You just got to silence the critics. We'll see what happens this week. Um, you know, so many things have gone our way, kind of like last night with the Houston game. Those guys could have put the game away, and I think the same analogy's got to be used for this game. We got to put the media away this weekend and just kind of do what we can do. But I was looking at the statistics from the last time we played the Cowboys. Obviously we didn't have Jaelan Carter because that a whole nonsense. But AJ Brown had one catch for 8, and Devonta had 3 for 16. The leading receiver was Dotson with 3 for 59. So,
Yeah,
we beat them last time without any of those guys doing and contributing at all. Goddard had 7 for 44, but I mean, you just look at it and you're like, well, we're winning games in spite of ourselves. So now it's time to turn it on, and hopefully, they will. But I don't know. It just kind of shows that at the end of the year, I can't see AJ Brown coming back. I just cannot see him coming back. So hopefully he looks good in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, and we can trade him for a number one pick.
I know it does feel like that's just kind of I don't know.
Because
I don't
Hurts
know.
is not going anywhere, guys. Hurts is not going anywhere. He's here
Yeah,
for the long haul.
yeah, which is hard for me sometimes to grasp onto. That's okay though. All right, let's get into that. The preview of it. Cam Jurgens. I want to talk about the injury report. Cam Jurgens practiced on Thursday, and I'm seeing reports already that he did practice today. It is so difficult to clear the concussion protocol in 1 week in the modern day NFL. They
Yeah.
just, it's just become such a forefront thought in our minds that we have to take care of these guys, which is I'm not saying is wrong. That's just what you got to do.
No.
But he's a big note for him to be back, and that'd be huge. It'd be a completely different game if we have him playing
Yeah. Well,
on
I mean,
Sunday.
one of the things about that concussion, everyone when he left the field said it was a knee. I didn't see the play. It's so hard when you're watching the game to say, "Oh, look, there's a different center in there." But when we heard it was a concussion, I kind of went, I don't remember. Usually your concussions are guys that are getting hit and flying in the air and knocking on their backs. It's just I don't know if that was.
Offensive lineman is just so low, usually so low impact because
Yeah,
you're just right
yeah,
there hitting. So
yeah.
you're
I
not
mean,
thinking that a lineman's getting concussion very often. It's very
right.
rare.
It's less of a headshot than anything. So who knows what it is? I guess you could say. Luckily, it wasn't a knee or a back. But at the same thing, he's got to clear it. But those things are so funny. The clear the protocol. Sometimes you're like, well, how come our team the guy never clears, but every other team seems like they clear. I mean, I've seen that so many times, and I mentioned that to you before. I just don't understand the whole criterion thing, but from what Rube was saying on Tuesday, I believe he wasn't walking around with big thick glasses on and staying in the closet where the bright lights were hurting his head or anything. So good positive maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Big notes and big players for the Cowboys kind of across the board. Malik Hooker didn't participate on yesterday's practice. And then limited participants included Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler, and Solomon Thomas, all guys on that defensive line, especially the defensive end position. That'd be a huge matchup for us, considering we're, of course, going to be missing Lane Johnson for this game and going forward through the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big deal to see. And not throughout the whole season, but, yeah, big deal to see. Those guys on the report, we'll see a little bit more what goes on going forward. But big one, big deal.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then you said there's two players, Dante Fowler and
Jadeveon Clowney.
Clown. Both past 30 years old, so maybe it's starting to wear on them the season,
Yep.
which that means you got to run at them in the game. But Dallas is different. It's a little bit different this year. They got a few new players, kind of like we did with Jaelan Phillips. So they got that spark in them as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, go ahead with
definitely.
your injury
That's
report.
a big thing to note. I like that you kind of. That's all I have for the injury report. Really, Jaelan Phillips was on ours, but that was more of just seemed like a kind of taking it easy on him.
Dak had a hip thing going on earlier in the week, but he's practiced. Of course, we knew that was going to happen.
Yes, of course. I like that you mentioned that. We saw at the trade deadline. Obviously the trade deadline, we got the big news for us was getting Jaelan Phillips, and then of course there were some guys that Michael Carter and Jair Alexander, which led to some other stuff. And then it also felt like we were getting more than just Jaelan Phillips, because when we were coming back from that, we were getting Jaelan Phillips, we were getting Nakobe Dean kind of back around the same time, a little bit before. And then Nolan Smith also coming back around the same time. So it just kind of felt like it felt like a whole new defense from just a few weeks ago. And I mean, it's similar to Dallas. I mean, they had Kenny Clark since the beginning of the season, but in this last few weeks, they of course traded for Quinnen Williams, the great defensive tackle who played great on Monday night against the Raiders. And then they also got some of their corners back and the safety, and they got the linebacker Overshown back, who's fantastic. That's going to be a big guy to worry about this week coming forward. And they also traded for like Logan Wilson from Cincinnati. So they did the same sort of thing as us, where they made some trades and then they also got a big boost from injuries back. So very similar, that we're looking at two different defenses from just 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, of course, from the opener when Jalen Carter got ejected for the game, I mean, that kind of set the tone for the whole game. And I really believe if he had played in that game, it would have been a total different outcome. It just, just losing the player is one thing, but also just that
losing one of your best players
big
and
change,
the gut punch.
The gut punch that you feel right away.
Well, it makes Jordan Davis go from playing 60% or whatever, 70% of snaps to playing 90% of snaps.
Right.
Ojomo, instead of playing 40% of snaps, he's got to play 80% of snaps.
It changes the whole rotation.
You got to throw in Gabe Hall, who was only expecting to play 15 snaps. He has to play 50. You never know. It does change.
And again, he's like the quarterback on that defensive line. I mean, he is who they go through. He's the one that stunts or pulls two guys off them and opens things up. So hopefully he's got a little bit of a revenge factor in his blood, and he gets in there and makes some plays. He's been looking great in the last 3 weeks. So hopefully he gets in there and becomes the player that we want him to be. But the defense, I think they're gonna like having him this time.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. So the Eagles taking on Dallas in that disgusting AT&T Stadium with the stupid sun rays that are going to be shining through the window. Something that a lot of people got mad at last year that I've been talking about for 12 years. Horrible stadium, horrible design. Not sure whose idea that was. I would assume Jerry Jones, because he's a moron. Playing Sunday afternoons, the Fox game of the week. 2:25, going to be all eyes, and it's going to be on national TV. Unfortunately, Dad, this is going to be the first game of the season that you and I are not going to be watching the game together.
That's true. It's going to break us up there, and it's going to be difficult to watch it wherever I end up watching it because I'm ready for you to go off when something happens, and now I'll have to be the one to do that, I guess.
I agree. Yep. So yeah, my dad's out in Phoenix right now. Or sorry, he's not yet, but he's going to be out in Phoenix tomorrow, driving to Phoenix to visit the other side of the family for Thanksgiving coming up. So he'll be there for 2 games in a row, the Cowboys and the Bears, which we'll have a quick turnaround next week to record a preview for the Bears game. It's going to be a big thing that we got to jump on. But yeah, Dad, Eagles Cowboys. Let's talk about the rivalry there. This has kind of become one of the most famous rivalries, really, in the NFL, especially
Definitely.
in the past 20 years or so, where they've both been, some of the best teams in the NFC. Obviously, we mentioned there's all these different games that we like to talk about, and we talked about doing a list of our favorite names of games. You know what I mean? And the best ones, one of the best names is the pickle juice game.
Yep, yep. It's a long time ago, 2001, I believe. So
I
it's
think it was
going back.
2000. I think it was 2000.
2000. Wow.
And that was really I think a guy from NBC Sports, you said Rube, he talked about how that was really the game that changed the trajectory of these two franchises. In the 90s, we were kind of losers. In the 90s, the Cowboys were winning the Super Bowls. And then in 2000, the pickle juice game happened. Since then, they haven't been to an NFC Championship game. We've been to 8. We've been to 4 Super Bowls. We've won 2. Like, it's
Right.
completely swapped. So that pickle juice game is kind of seen as a big turning point in these two franchises in this next millennia or
Yeah,
century,
that
I
is
should
pretty
say.
awesome. And again, we were sitting here last week talking about, famous named Eagle games. If you got a few, throw them in the comments. We'd like to hear what you got. Maybe we forgot one. We haven't made the list yet, but we ended up with about 8 or 10 of them. So, there's always some good ones. But it wasn't strictly for Cowboys games either. It was for all time, if you will. So,
Yeah,
yeah, we won't mention the Fog Bowl though because that one was
sucked.
that
Yeah,
was terrible.
good name, horrible game.
Yeah, well, I
Dad,
think I told you I had taped that game on a VHS tape, and I held that tape for about 20 some years, and I finally saw it in my collection, and I said I never rewatched it, obviously, and
yeah,
it's no longer around.
yeah. Dad, obviously nothing really to report as far as weather because they're going to be playing an indoor stadium.
Right.
But do you have a weather report on Phoenix when you're going to be there for Thanksgiving?
It's going to be cool, 50s, 60s. I mean, it's they got a lot of rain the last few days. They got rain coming today. Some pretty big storms. So I'm hoping Saturday night they're looking like maybe some rain. I'm hoping as we travel through Flagstaff, there's no icy roads or anything like that. But I think it's supposed to be warm there tomorrow. So hopefully that'll just make the roads melt and we'll be fine. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not sure where I'll be watching the game yet, but the other good thing about this is that they're playing Dallas. It's going to be it's later in the year, so that sun should set earlier than but it's just
True.
the sun setting in the winter like that makes even worse shade and hard to see in that stadium. So
Yeah,
run the ball, baby, run the ball.
that's right. We'll see if we can. We'll talk about the matchups. But all-time record Cowboys unfortunately lead 74-59. We got a lot of ground to make up there in the playoffs. They lead 3-1. But in our lifetime, it's been a little bit better. I think we're 2 games over 500 against them now because of last year. But it was crazy. Before last year, I talked to my friend Tevin at work, who, of course, is a Cowboys fan. I was like, the last 25 seasons from 2000 to 2024, the Eagles and Cowboys were 25-25.
Isn't that
It was
crazy?
it was incredible, or
Yeah.
it was in the last 25 years with last year, whatever.
Right,
And
right.
and then last year we won 2 of them, so we should be three of above 100 because this year's game that we already played, of course. So yeah, that's 3 games above 500. We got a 3-game lead on them in my lifetime, basically.
Yeah, and now you do though. I think we've won 4 of the last 5, and the biggest thing is the Dak game. He's playing this time. He played in the season opener, so he lost that game, but he has a great record against us when he starts and plays. So
Yeah,
we'll see how that continues. But what he's in year 7 or 8 or 10, or I don't even know where he is now, but he's been around for a while now.
2016. Is this his 10th season?
I
2016 was
I
when he was
think it
drafted.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, 10th
So
season. Well, 10th season he had 2 cut really short because of injury. He had
yes,
the ankle
yes,
broken, and then he had last year the hamstring. So
right,
it's really 8 full seasons, maybe like not, yeah, 8.5 full seasons.
right, right.
Um, yeah, and everyone's always talked about it. Dak owns the East, and you know,
Yeah,
you don't want to bring into situation the whole like, oh well, this game he was playing this guy, and this game. But in the
Right.
10 years that he's been in the league, it was like, oh, he's yada yada against the Eagles. And I'm like, yeah, but how many of those games were with, one was Gardner Minshew. One, we were resting the starters because we were
Right.
going
Right.
into one, we were resting the starters. And like, so he's won two that we were resting the starters because we were going to the playoffs and we rested our starters and they played and won. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, so I'm not going to really take this into full
Yeah.
realism. You know what I mean? He does play well
Right.
against us. I'm not going to deny that,
Yeah.
but
Always
it's
has.
just let's relax a little bit. But
Yeah.
um, let's get into the matchups, Dad. I didn't really write any down because I kind of rushed into doing this episode today. I got a really busy day, but
Right.
let's talk about just some team stats of it right now. So it's very clearly known this is one of the best passing offenses in the league, but they are also one of the worst passing and total overall defenses in the league. 30th in total defensive yards, 30th against the pass, 24th against the run, 31st in points. They allow the second most points, and they are the worst third down defense. So looking into the offensive side of this, I mean, we talk about get right games, and there's been teams in the past few months who have used the Cowboys, really this whole season, who have used the Cowboys with their offense to go, this is the get right game for the offense.
Right.
And I mean, I know this defense is a little bit better. Got Quinn and Williams out there and a couple guys back, overshown, like we mentioned. But this is one of those games we got to get a get right game here, man.
Yeah, I agree. And they got to, it's funny. They're one of the worst third down conversion teams, while we're the other side of that coin. So we're not really good at third downs.
True.
I just wish I could talk to the team, because there's so many plays in the last few weeks where guy had a chance to just make it second and two, and he tried to make a cut, and now it's second and five. Like you got to fight for every yard this week. You got to get every first down. You got to continue. We got to cut that on the penalties. I mean, I wish I could get in front of the team and just tell them what I think they need to do, but because there's so many things that we see, and it just a 14-yard run by Barkley gets wiped out because of a hold, and then there's
Yeah.
just so many plays in the last two games. You're just like, we were that close, guys. Now come on, keep it up. Goddard caught that one pass, and instead of just diving for two, he gets tackled, and then we get a penalty on third down. We tried to push, and now it's third and six. It's too much of that. Too much of that
Yeah.
this year. Too much undisciplined play.
Yeah. Let's talk about the edge rusher group for them. So, obviously we're going to be missing right tackle Lane Johnson. Still got my lot on the other side, who's not having as great a season as last year, but still one of the better left tackles in the league. This team's got a really good defensive end rotation, especially since they
Yes,
picked
they do.
up Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler's good, Donovan Eziraku, and Sam Williams. And that's not even including James Houston, who gets in there sometimes. It's a good
Yeah.
defensive end group, and it's going to be really tough work for Fred Johnson out there. You do trust in him because he's provided for us in the past. He has delivered, but it's still a little worrisome out there.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things I think you're going to have to look for this game, and I believe Calcaterra is not going to be out there nearly as much. He can't block. You and I would argue with that early in the season because give him a chance. He'll catch some balls. He's not catching any balls. He's getting a lot of plays. He can't block. Latu's got to be out there. Maybe Granson.
Granson, yeah.
But Latu is the guy that can block. Use him as a blocking tight end, chip blocker. Put him in motion and help Fred out on the right side there. So he's going to need it. And hopefully we run outside a little bit more than we have, because I can't stand the fact that we keep trying to run into a wall and it's just not working. And it seems like the last teams we played, like in the last 4 or 5 weeks, they have that interior defensive line that's really good, and we're just not getting the push. And we just need to, the pitch play seems to work. And I really believe Tank's got to get the ball more. I mean, he's got to get an eight to 10 carries, and Barkley's got to do his 10 to 18 carries, not 26 carries like last week. It just wasn't going anywhere. Tank comes in, he gets 4 for 35 or something, and he just brings a different change to that offense.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the
I wish they would.
linebacker. Yeah, I know. Let's talk about the linebacker group. Overshown, who we've talked about, is a fantastic linebacker, just often injured, unfortunately. Then Logan Wilson, who's the guy that's played on the 2 worst defenses in the league this year, got traded from Cincinnati to Dallas. Played only like 34 snaps on Monday, or I was it 34? Yeah, 34 snaps Monday night. So he's kind of easing himself back into it, kind of with the first game there. So we'll probably see more of him this week. But yeah, no, it's a strong linebacker position.
Definitely. I mean, and Overshawn, we know last year he was like heading for greatness, and then he got injured, and it was, you hate to see it happen to a player, but yeah, he's definitely got the speed and the knowledge. He's a very good player, and we're going to need to either have somebody Because they're going to blitz. We're going to need that check down guy and not the guy out 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. We need somebody to go down and in the middle or down and out. Shipley, who we talk about as great receiver, just haven't seen any of it this year. They just don't seem to throw it to him at all. Barkley's gotten his throws, but last week they did that awful throw to the flat, and he was going to get hammered. There was one last night too, and I'm like, can't you see that linebacker is just flying in to hit the guy? Don't throw it, But I mean, what are you going to do?
For
right?
me, it's more so don't catch it.
Right.
You know
Well,
like,
yeah.
and I know you have to be certain that the ball's going forward,
Yeah,
but there's
correct.
just so many times that I'm like, if I'm the running back there, I'm just knocking the ball down. Like, I'm not
Right.
catching that ball.
You're
Like, are
not
you
going
kidding me?
anywhere. Yeah.
Killed.
Yeah.
I'm going to get killed. We're going to lose 8 yards. It's just
Yeah.
weird, but
We
um,
did that a lot last game where we two steps forward, one step back, and you're like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Quit running that. You're 2nd and 2. Let's go. Like, yeah, there was just too much.
yeah. Next group to talk about the defensive back. The frustrating thing about week one, Dad, it wasn't even just during week one. It was more so after week one because you saw that there was like some pictures and memes online of, Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, they shut down AJ and Devontae. And at first you're kind of like, crap, did they? Like, geez. And then after like 3 or 4 weeks later, you're like, it made it more even frustrating because these guys suck. I mean,
Well,
they
yeah.
got they got Malik Hooker back. He's still showing as a questionable, so we'll see what happens. And Trayvon Diggs is done for the season, which I think is good for them because he is one of the worst cornerbacks I've ever seen
Yeah.
this year. At least he was awful, and it just made it so frustrating that how did we not get any? These guys are terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
this defensive back group over the next 4 or 5 weeks after our week was the worst I've seen in NFL history. I mean, they were
Yeah.
awful, and
They
it
were
made it
bad.
frustrating. Why were our guys not open, or
Yeah.
was it Jaelan not unleashing the ball? Which we don't have to get into. You know me with my thoughts on that guy holding on to the ball too long.
Right.
It just very frustrating that we
Well,
didn't get anything going week one.
I was talking to you last night also. I was watching David Mills for Houston. He almost got sacked by two guys, and he still threw it away. And no intentional ground. He just did what you do. You throw that thing out of bounds, and it looked like he was going to get sacked. Two different players hit him, and he got rid of the ball. And I'm like, hopefully, we're watching that because that's what we have to do. But you just got to have that back or somebody that's in the flat that you could hit downfield, not behind the line of scrimmage. And as a utility player, that's when they got the blitz, they're coming. There's 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. They're coming. Let's go. So
Yeah.
hopefully they've learned a lesson. But it's been rough. It's definitely been rough this year.
Dad, let's get to the defensive side of things. So our defense, looking at them, they got a good quarterback. We've talked about it. Maybe don't say the word great, but they got a good quarterback who can throw the ball. He can get out of trouble, all that sort of stuff. And they got a running back who's playing better than I think the entire NFL world expected.
Right.
Javonte Williams, 161 carries, 809 yards, 5 yards per carry, 8 total touchdowns, 2 fumbles lost. So he's dropped the ball a couple times, but
Right.
just he's been really good this year for them. And it's gonna be a big thing. I'm not too worried about it because we got the great linebackers play right now. We might have the two of the best. We might have the two of the best 5 linebackers in the NFL right now. I mean, they're incredible. Hello, hello. Oh no, I lost you. You frozen? I'm frozen. Uh-oh. Hello, hello. Sorry, guys. I guess I'll keep on going. Oh, you there?
Oh shit.
Are you here? You got me
Yeah, I
now?
hear you. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
All right. Tell me a
Okay.
little bit about Javonte Williams and Dak going up against our linebackers.
Well, that's the one thing that I was going to get into is Dak. He's not as mobile as he used to be. He can definitely get away from trouble. But if we can collapse on him like we have the last few weeks with that defensive line, the changes that have made with some of the players like Phillips out there and Nolan Smith's back playing well, I think we'll be able to disrupt that passing game because you can't give him more than 3 or 4 seconds or he's going to find somebody wide open because he's got good, speedy receivers. So
And
hopefully he can continue that.
let's jump into that next. Probably the biggest matchup of the game. The wide receivers. They got one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL that we've seen since they got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb came back from injury. Their wide
Yes.
receiver core has been fantastic. And the good news for us, we match up really well with that. We got one of the best cornerback groups in the league, at least cornerback duos
Yes.
in Quinion
Quinion.
Mitchell and Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Odori Jackson's playing much better than he was before.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a huge matchup in this game. these cornerbacks versus those guys wide receivers.
I think the guy that's been overlooked too the last few weeks at least. I was watching a few of the games over. Blankenship, he's been playing really well coming up to stop runners. He's a good solid tackle guy, so that's
Yes.
good. And I think Drew McCuba's gotten a lot better. He was getting picked on a little bit early. I think he's played better. So again, it's the same old story. We need to get to the quarterback, and we need to maybe get a pick or two to get them out of their game, because I know they're coming in. This is their Super Bowl, guys. This is their game. This is the one they need to win, because they played Kansas City on Thursday, and Kansas City's coming for blood as well. So that's also going to be a tough one for them. So they know they need to win at least one of these next two games to keep themselves afloat. If not, they're out. They're done.
Yes. No, I would agree. Yeah, I pretty concerned about these wide receivers. Sometimes they got the weapons and everything like that. Turpin, who can do
Yep.
one big play a game and everything like that. Really
Yep.
good kick returner as well.
And
And
good tight end.
Flournoy, Jalen Tolbert, Jake Ferguson, all really good playmakers. So a lot to worry about. Again, this defense is just so good, which brings me to the next point. I wanted to talk about the offensive line, our defensive line versus their offensive line. This is not a very good tackle duo.
Right.
And Jaelan Phillips has been playing like one of the best edge rushers in the NFL the last few weeks. Nolan
Definitely.
Smith's playing well. We obviously know Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis probably had their best game as a duo last week. And Ojomo a couple of weeks ago had that great play against the Green Bay thing, calling out the play and everything. He's been
Right.
playing well. So you really do like your chances with Jalix Hunt's been playing better as of late. You really
Definitely.
do love your chances to get Dak to the ground. Last time we played them, we didn't have Phillips. We didn't have Cooper DeJean. We lost Jalen Carter before the game. It was a very different looking team. And man, you didn't have BG on the defense.
Right.
So it is a very different defense. And you really think, I really do think this defensive line can be the game changer, can be the game wrecker, just
Yeah.
like they've been the last few weeks. But we need them
Yeah.
to do it again
It
because
has to be.
you got
It
these
has to
wide
be.
receivers who, as much as I trust in these corners, these wide receivers are still great. And, there's just no doubt. There's
Yeah.
no taking that away from them. And wide receivers, they tend to win more than cornerbacks
Yeah.
do.
So
So
we need to
defensive
trust.
line,
We know we have to frustrate CeeDee Lamb. We want to see him on the sidelines getting in Dak's
absolutely.
face. That's what we want to see. That's what we're looking for in this game. One of the things I do want to bring up, Ojomo, who made a great fourth down tackle in the game the other day that BG set up with his great rush. And being 0 for 5 on fourth down, that's something to hang your hat on. So,
Yeah.
but we know that the defense has got to get to the quarterback, got to make him uncomfortable, just like they did against Goff. Goff's definitely a better quarterback than Dak this season, and they made him look pedestrian. Really, they made him look bad.
Yep. Special teams, Dad. Let me get into that. So great special teams players on this Dallas team. They got probably the best kicker in the league. They got probably the best kick returner in the league.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is going to be trying to keep those guys off the field. We want to hold the defense back. We want to hold the offense back in their own side of the field so that they're not kicking field goals because they're inside. They're in their own house. So that guy likes when he kicks in his own house.
Definitely.
And, these kickoffs, you just pin them into the corner and pray for some good coverage is really what
Yeah,
you got to.
it's been overlooked too how well our special teams played the last 2 weeks as well. The punt coverage was amazing. Keely Ringo, was it
Yeah.
the kick the center made the long snapper made 2 tackles, but
Yeah.
they definitely contained the other team. They didn't let too many big kick returns, and we had a few good ones. Shipley's been running back the kicks pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Dad, do you have a player to watch?
I am going to be watching the new guy, Jaelan Phillips, on the side there. I'm just going to see how he gets in there. Hopefully, he makes some plays early and then maybe get a few holding calls against him because he is looking unbelievable right now. And it's just the other players are feeding off of his greatness right now. So we need that to continue.
Dad, I'm going to break my rule. I had a rule for a while there that I wasn't going to pick AJ anymore because every time I picked him, he didn't do too much. I can't. I got to do it. I'm wearing his jersey. I'm picking number 11. He's my player to watch. Last time we played, he only had one target for 8 yards in the fourth quarter, and the second or third to last play of the game, something like
How does
that.
that
Fourth to last play of the game is awful.
how does that
And
happen?
I just think that this is, I don't know, this is the week that we said, we've been saying it for a few weeks. This is the week where we're going to figure it out. I mean, this is the week that you have to figure it out,
Right.
or I'm thinking we're trending more for 2023 than we are for 2024. This
I
is the
agree.
week that tells me, is this year 2023 Eagles or 2024 Eagles? And people might be saying,
Right.
well, it's the 2025 Eagles. I don't care. There's one way you trend, there's another way you trend. And I think this is the game that determines, are we gonna collapse and not be so great, no Super Bowl repeat, or are we gonna be like 2024 and turn everything around and figure it all out?
Well, I also think that, the high scoring game we always talk about may not happen this weekend as well, but hopefully we can put up enough points to win, maybe 20, 21 points, something like that. But
I
I'm
I hope
hoping we need it.
I hope it's not that high scoring because I talked to Tevin at work about this, and Eagles fans might not like that. I'm looking at a loss or something like that. To me, like I can't see us blowing anybody out until we do it. I know we did it to
Right.
the Giants a few weeks ago. That's big whoop. I just feel like I told him I'm like the way I see the Cowboys winning is 31-20. The way see us winning is 20-16. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I just don't know if we can go toe for toe for high scoring. And
I
that's why you
agree.
have to really worry about this game a lot more than anything because I just if they score a lot of points. I just don't know. I don't see us matching it. I just can't
Yeah.
see it right now. I just
Well,
can't see us matching it.
in my thoughts, I think the big thing about this game is that it's a 60-minute game. If they come out of the box and score right away, I wouldn't let that get us down right away. I think we definitely have a lot of fight. We got a lot of young players that can play and just play an entire 60-minute game. So that's going to be the difference. And I think they're going to have to going to have to move the ball somehow. I don't know how, but they got to move the ball.
Yeah. Daddy got a score prediction for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 21-14, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
You
it's going to be a
almost took
low scoring
yeah.
affair.
You almost took mine. I could 21-17. So you almost got me.
Okay. Well,
Um, I gotta mention before the season, I have to mention, I feel like I got to mention this every time before the season. I did my schedule predictions. I predict the Eagles go 13-4. I've been wrong about the losses. I chose them to lose to the Rams in week 3. I chose them to lose to the um,
Lions.
Lions. Thank you. I chose them to lose to the Lions. They beat both those teams. And I will admit to you right now, I did choose us to lose this game in
Right.
Dallas. That was before I knew that we were going to be wearing the Kelly Greens in Dallas.
Nice.
That's you know what I mean. So that changes things. We're undefeated since we brought Kelly Green back.
Right.
But yes, I did choose us to lose this game. Now I also didn't. I also thought Dallas was going to be better than they were,
Right. Right.
uh, about on pace-ish. But I'm still going to pick us to win this game. But I just have to mention that this was the game that I did choose this as an L for us before the season began.
Well, like I said, this is definitely
I'm
the
sorry.
game. This is definitely the game for them. They have to win. This is their Super Bowl. They lose this game, it's over. So
Oh yeah,
they're
definitely.
fighting for a lot. So and we know it too. I mean, it's not like we don't know that this could be the one that puts the nail in the coffin. So I think we're going to see a pretty high flying team out there.
Yeah. All right, Ted Lee, want to talk about some other games?
Sure.
Yeah, good news
Sure.
for us. There's no games. There's no really good games that are happening during ours. So that's good. There's not going to be any need to look at any other game and see what's going on. Like sometimes there is. This
Right.
is really not a great afternoon game, but a couple good morning games. The Vikings are taking on the Packers in Green Bay. Two teams that aren't as far off. We kind of talked about that. The Packers are 6-3-1, and they've lost to some bad teams and us. And then the Vikings are 4-6. They're not that far away from each other in that division. I think
Yeah.
that could be a fun game to watch early on.
Yeah. It's going to be a battle in NFC North this year. Nobody's pulling away.
Yep. Really one of the biggest games to watch, probably the second biggest game of the day to ours is or maybe it's bigger, I don't know. Bigger for their seasons. Colts playing the Chiefs. Colts taking on Kansas City. Obviously the Colts are around the 1 seed or the 2nd seed in the AFC. Maybe they're the 3rd seed right now, but they've been playing like one of the best teams in the league. They have the number 1 offense. And the Chiefs, on the downward spiral, which I've been enjoying very much.
Yeah. So again, this is their big game too. They need to win this game. They don't
Yeah.
win this game, they're not winning their division for sure. And they're on the outside looking in for the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. But this has got to be a big game for them. But they have not looked good.
Next one I'll mention going to be the night game, the Sunday night game, the Buccaneers at Rams, another one of the biggest NFC matchups of the weekend. Two teams leading their divisions and two teams that are have big playoff hopes because they've been kind of going back and forth to the playoffs the last few years. And we'll see what happens there because if we were to take an L and the Rams win, they get the 1 seed. But we've talked about it all year long. Ever since we beat the Rams, you're almost you're cheering for the Rams to beat the other NFC teams because we have that tiebreaker. It's just
Right.
huge.
That just comes down to the record. So yeah, you have
Dude,
to.
the tiebreaker is going to be so massive if we have records. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just going to be we beat the Lions, Packers, Rams, Bucks. I mean, it's just insane. Like
yeah,
the tiebreakers are going to be so immense, especially if the Bears. We'll see what happens with the Bears, but
right.
they're in the lead of that division right now, and we play them. I mean, you could have a tiebreaker over almost every team that vies for a number one seed. It's insane.
Totally agree.
Fantastic. Good job. You got anything else to say, my friend?
No, I'm looking forward to the trip. We're getting packed up and getting ready to go down to where it's warm.
Yeah, too bad. Yeah, I just finished putting up the rest of my Christmas decorations,
Oh,
so you
nice.
have to come by and check it out tonight before you guys take off tomorrow. But
Sounds good.
yeah, I got nothing else to say about that. We can talk about some other stuff. The Sixers won last night. Good win for them over the Milwaukee Bucks. Tyrese Maxey had his career high, 54 points in a game, which is fantastic. He's been playing like one of the best players in the league. I think he's second in points per game right now, with
Right.
33 points per game. He's been fantastic, and the team as a whole has been pretty good. I think it makes their record 7-4. So,
Oh.
not doesn't blow anybody. 9-6. I'm way off. Sorry about that. 9-6 doesn't blow anybody away, but they're doing pretty okay.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow's Saturday. Is tomorrow the 20? No. Is it Sunday the 23rd? That's when the Union play.
That's
Is
the
that right?
23rd. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they play against New York City FC in Philly. It's single game eliminations now. It's the Eastern Conference semifinals,
Yep.
and that means winner goes to the. Am I right?
I don't know how many games are left or how many teams
No,
are
no,
left.
that can't be right. They don't go
Yeah, it's
to
got to be one more. Yeah.
the. Okay, yeah, because semifinals would be okay. That makes sense. Sorry, yeah.
Right.
They play the New York City FC, and then FC Cincinnati plays Inter Miami, and those two teams, whoever wins those two teams, go to
Yeah.
the Eastern Conference Championship.
Yeah. There's 8 teams left,
Yep.
down to 4.
Yeah, I know. We're on our way
That's
there.
good.
It's
That's
good
awesome.
stuff. Anything else you got to say, my friend?
No, I don't, man. Very good.
All right. Let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like Philly Eagles Therapy, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and drop below your prediction for the game. What is your score
Thumbs up.
prediction? How much did the Eagles win by? You can also email us questions at phillyeaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Philly Eagles Therapy, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.